Iowa Hawkeyes game, but this time we're hearing from none other than WNBA superstar Caitlin Clark. That's right, Caitlin is reacting to a controversial moment during Iowa's Big Ten showdown against the Indiana Hoosiers. Now, Caitlin Clark, as many of you know, is a legend. The former Iowa star and all-time NCAA leading scorer has been keeping an eye on her old team, the Hawkeyes, as they face off against rival Indiana. And just like the rest of us sports fans, Caitlin was posting her reactions on social media during the game. Things got heated in the first quarter. With just 2 minutes left on the clock, Iowa senior guard Sydney Affolter drove to the basket for a layup, cutting into Indiana's lead. But as she ran back down the court, things took a turn. Affolter, who played with Caitlin for 3 seasons at Iowa, was whistled for a technical foul after knocking the ball out of the hands of an Indiana player, delaying the game. This set off a firestorm of reaction from Clark. Clark didn't hold back, posting her thoughts on X, saying, "Should have been a warning. Very interesting. But go Hawks." As you can see, Caitlin was clearly not happy with the quick technical call, especially since it was a play that didn't seem to warrant an immediate penalty. For Caitlin, this kind of critique is rare. It's only her 3rd post on social media in 2025, and her first time offering any commentary since December. So it was definitely a big moment for her to speak up. Affolter ended the game with 4 points, 3 fouls, and that technical. Unfortunately for Iowa, the Hawkeyes lost the game 74-67 on their home court, adding to their 3rd consecutive loss in Big Ten play. Iowa fans loved seeing Caitlin support her former teammate, but I think it's safe to say they're ready for Clark to come back and help turn the season around. After all, who wouldn't want a player like Caitlin Clark back on the court? Let's take a closer look at what Caitlin Clark's reaction tells us. As we all know, Caitlin is a fierce competitor. Her quick take on the technical foul wasn't just about defending her former teammate, but it also gives us insight into her mindset as a player. Known for her fiery spirit, Caitlin has a history of being vocal when it comes to officiating and how the game is played. As we saw during her rookie season in the WNBA, Caitlin isn't afraid to express herself when she feels a call is unjust. In fact, she was one of the top players in technical fouls during her first season, which just shows how passionate she is about the game. But here's the thing. While the technical was clearly a point of frustration, Caitlin was able to stay calm and supportive of her team. With 6 technical fouls in her rookie year, Caitlin isn't one to shy away from speaking out, but she balances it out with a great deal of professionalism. In this case, instead of escalating the situation, her social media post was more of a light-hearted observation, ending with the ever-optimistic "Go Hawks," which shows her loyalty to her team. Now, as for the game itself, it wasn't an easy loss for Iowa. The Hoosiers came out strong, and despite a valiant effort from the Hawkeyes, they couldn't quite close the gap. Indiana's defense seemed to stifle Iowa's offensive rhythm, and the loss marked a 3rd consecutive setback for the Hawkeyes in Big Ten play. After this loss, Iowa now sits at 12-5 overall, but more importantly, they're struggling with a 2-4 record in the Big Ten. That's definitely not the start they were hoping for this season, especially with the pressure mounting to turn things around. Fans are definitely feeling the heat, and many are hoping Caitlin Clark will come back and bring some of that magic to Iowa. You can't help but imagine how different the game might have been if she were still out there, especially with her playmaking ability and leadership. Remember, Caitlin's time at Iowa was nothing short of legendary. She became a household name not just for her scoring ability, but for her leadership on and off the court. It's clear that her presence still resonates with Iowa fans, and they're eager for that spark she brought to the game. So while Caitlin Clark may not be wearing an Iowa jersey anymore, she's still a big part of the Hawkeyes story. And her reaction to this controversial moment shows how much she cares about the team and her former teammates, even from afar. If you enjoyed this breakdown of Caitlin Clark's reaction, whether it's her buzzer beaters, her incredible 3-point shooting, or her leadership, Caitlin Clark has cemented herself as one of the most electrifying players in college basketball history. And as much as she's moved on to the pros, her ties to Iowa are undeniable. Iowa fans are undoubtedly hoping for a turnaround in this season, but the one thing we know for sure is that Caitlin's spirit is still very much alive in that program. Her legacy in Iowa City isn't just about the record she broke, it's about the energy she brought to the court every time she played. It's something that resonates with every fan who watched her lead the Hawkeyes to historic moments. Looking ahead, Iowa's schedule doesn't get any easier, but they've got some tough players on the roster who will step up to the challenge. The team's going to need to find consistency in their game and tighten up those late-game situations if they want to turn this season around. And, as always, Hawkeye Nation will be watching, hoping for that spark, maybe from a future star, or perhaps a familiar face from the past. And while Iowa fans may be waiting for her to return, Caitlin Clark is continuing to make waves in the WNBA with the Indiana Fever. Her presence in the pros has been just as impactful, as she's proven herself to be a force on the court and a voice for young athletes everywhere. Just look at her rookie season in the WNBA. 6 technical fouls, yes, but also multiple games where she showed that same passion and determination that made her a household name in college basketball. The technical fouls didn't define her. It was her competitive drive and willingness to stand up for herself and her teammates. So, while Iowa may be struggling this season, one thing's for sure: Caitlin Clark will always be a part of their story, both on and off the court. She's already left an unforgettable legacy, and as she continues to shine in the WNBA, her impact on the game will only grow. One of the most special things about Caitlin Clark's journey is how deeply she's connected with fans, not just in Iowa, but across the country. From the very first time she hit that iconic buzzer beater against Indiana, it was clear she wasn't just a player. She was a symbol of hope and excitement for so many. And even now, as she's making her mark in the WNBA, her roots remain grounded in Iowa. These fans have supported her from the start, and in a way, Caitlin's reactions, like her take on the technical foul, remind us all of the bond between athletes and their supporters. It's more than just about the game. It's about representing something bigger. For Iowa, Caitlin Clark represents pride, passion, and a fierce love for the game.